Today I'm going to deal with the next important element in successful praying. This has to do with the part that the Holy Spirit plays in our prayers. It can be stated very simply. The only kind of prayer that is acceptable to God is one directed by the Holy Spirit. Actually, this goes far beyond our prayers. It applies to every area of the Christian life. The only kind of Christian life acceptable to God is one directed by the Holy Spirit. Paul brings this out in the 8th chapter of Romans. In Romans 8 and 14, he says, "For all who are being led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God." That's what constitutes a person, a son or a child of God, that he's being led by the Spirit of God. You see, to become a child of God, you must be born of God's Spirit. That's the initial experience, without which you cannot enter the Christian life. But to live as a child of God, you must continue to be led by the Holy Spirit, God's Spirit. Now, many people who've been born again really don't know how to be led by the Holy Spirit when it comes to Christian living. This is perhaps particularly true when it comes to praying. But later on in this chapter, Paul applies this principle specifically to prayer. In Romans 8, 26 and 27, he says, "And in the same way, the Spirit, capital S, the Holy Spirit, also helps our weakness. For we do not know how to pray as we should, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And he who searches the hearts knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he, that's the Spirit, intercedes for the saints according to the will of God." Paul says that we have a weakness. We all have a weakness. It's not a physical sickness. It's not even a mental sickness, but it's just part of our old carnal nature. And the weakness is this: we don't know how to pray as we should. There are different versions of that verse. Some say we don't know what to pray for. Others say we don't know how to pray. I believe both are true. We don't know what to pray for. We don't know how to pray. Sometimes we think we know what to pray for, but we still don't know how to pray about it. And other times we don't know either what to pray for or how to pray. We're at a loss. God's remedy for this is to send us the Holy Spirit to help us. He's the comforter, the helper, the one who comes to help us lead the kind of life and pray the kind of prayers that we need. And so Paul says here that when the Holy Spirit comes in a certain sense, he takes over for us. And as we yield to him, he does the praying that we need through us. Paul's language is very personal here. He says the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And again, in the next verse, he, the Spirit, intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. In a certain sense, the secret of successful praying is turning over to the Holy Spirit, yielding intelligently but voluntarily to him, and letting him pray through you the kind of prayer that really needs to be prayed. Notice that Paul says this kind of prayer can come in various ways. One way that he speaks about here is in groanings too deep for words. Now, I've been present when people were given that kind of prayer. It's very moving. It's very solemn. It's almost frightening. It's important to understand that many of the things that we really need to pray about are too deep for words. The ordinary words of our normal expression just are not adequate for the things that we need to say in prayer. You see, deep down inside every one of us, there's something that's much bigger than our little minds. It's what the Bible calls our spirit. Our spirit is always hungering and thirsting for God. Our spirit longs to reach out for God. Our spirit has things locked up within it that it longs to express to God in prayer. But as long as we're limited to what our puny little minds can censor and accept as reasonable and valid, our spirit cannot fully express itself. So one of the ways that the Holy Spirit liberates our spirit to pray effectively is with groanings that are too deep for words. That's one kind of prayer.